Well, hi. Hello. How do you do?
How are you doing today? You doing good?
I'm doing well. Welcome, everybody. It's Perfectly Twisted with Nicole and Dave. Um, hit that like button. And catch us on YouTube if you haven't already. And we love hearing from y'all. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. It feels like summertime's almost here. I know for you and obviously you were kind of in a summer show being a lifeguard, but for you, you have the young daughter who's the school year's coming to an end. Is this one of those times where you're going, all right, this is where the year gets fun, or does it feel a little bit different for you and your daughter for everything you're going through? Like what's going on with you right now as we're in mid-May?
Well, my daughter gets out. She has a different schedule than a lot of other school districts. So she gets out end of May. So we're on our last 2 weeks of school, which is so much earlier than other schools. And it's weird because we always have May gray and June gloom, right? So it's like her, when summer really kicks into gear, it's time for her to go back to school. It's so it's we always the beginning of her summer is always this, oh, it's raining, oh, it's gray outside, and trying to stay entertained while she has to understand that I still have to juggle and trying to work, and do things like that. Like, I'm not on summer break, kid, you are. But I do love not having to get up with an alarm clock.
Yeah.
It's fewer, that's it's an everyday thing when she's in school. I really enjoy just waking up without an alarm clock. I feel like my sleep is so much better. Um, and yeah, I like summer. Summer's fun. Summer's a
Yeah.
good time. Yeah.
All right,
How about
here.
you?
This is always a question that I've always. Well, I went through the same process with my kids, where we kind of. I'm guessing your daughter's in like what consider year-round school, right? Where you have like breaks in the fall, breaks in you don't. It's just because
No,
that's how we had. We broke out like then, and then we had 6 weeks off for summer. Then they're back in school in July, and then they have a break again in September, and that's what I thought the schedule you were
no,
explaining.
LA County did not dig that idea. We don't have year-round school. But no, it's no, not at all. So she just stop her summer break. She'll go back
Okay,
in August.
okay. So no, no. For me, as I'm always curious to know as a viewer, because I always hate when they go the season finale, of a show and say season finale. I'm like, damn, I'm not going to see the show again until September. When you're recording a show, whatever it is, like let's say Law and Order, for instance, it ends, at the end of this month or in a week. When do they stop recording that actual show? I mean, we know the shows aren't, basically taped all the way up until the last episode. How does the break work when you guys go on hiatus on a TV show?
Well, it's a lot like school. You have your shooting, and then usually, typically, once you start shooting a few episodes in, it starts to air. So it's not too far, with scripted television, it's not too far off. I think reality is all over the place. I think it's like the Wild Wild West. They shoot and air whenever it's good for them and whatever works. They have that freedom. But with scripted and network, there's more of a schedule like school. You shoot these months and then you have these off, and like that. But at
Is
least
it
that's been my experience.
so the opportunity for, let's say, TV actors, if they like a Michael J. Fox, let's say in the 80s, that was his opportunity to go and do movies during those breaks. I mean, it's
Correct.
pretty tough to do both at the same time. I mean, there's always
Yeah.
that talk that he did Back to the Future and Family Ties at the same time. But I imagine as a TV actor, if someone gave you the opportunity to be in a film, you don't want to miss that opportunity.
Right. Yeah, generally actors will work on their hiatus, is what it's called when they take time off. I know that they can like I've done two things back to back. I've done two movies simultaneously. So I was in
Wow.
Canada. I would shoot during the day, and then I would sleep on the car ride to the other location and then shoot and then drive back and forth like that. So my sleep was in a car. And the what will happen is production will tend to help work around you so that the schedule of it. So like a filmed show, you have the privilege of shooting out of order, and you're all over the place. You usually shoot by locations. You do all the scenes that happen at that location, and then you move on. So they can sort of like work around you. With a taped show like Family Ties, what they can do is maybe write your part smaller to give you a little bit of a break, like feature a different actor. But that you have to be there. You have to be there for that shoot day. But it's only one
Yeah.
day, so um, they're able to finagle it. He probably, if he was doing them at the same time, he probably didn't do all the rehearsal days. They had him a stand in for him, and
When you were doing two movies at the same time, how different were the characters? Like it seems so crazy just in your mindset of what you're trying to portray.
yeah, they were very different. They were very different, but that's okay. That was manageable because there was nothing crazy. Um, I was just really tired. I was really exhausted. Because I was a little sleep deprived.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding. That is wild. While you were doing it, were you saying to yourself, "I can't believe I'm doing this"? I mean, that's amazing.
Um, yes, because well, it was like I got the offer while I was shooting something, and at first the answer just kept coming back, no, it's impossible, it's not gonna work. And I really wanted to do both projects. So when they were able to work it out, excuse it sounds like I have a frog in my throat today. When they were able to work it out, I was really excited. So I was excited and I was, really like all gung ho. And then as it progressed, I was like, oh my God, when does this end? But then luckily the first one I started finished. And then I was able to just go to the other location and finish out normally.
Did you wa- did you watch Game of Thrones? Were you at all a Game of Thrones fan?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay. Oh, so what I'm curious to know about like a show like that, and I would have been interested to hear what you said, but I'll explain to you is basically there are seven different locations, but not just in, let's say, Los Angeles, all over the world. And then they take the storylines from these seven locations and they stick it into a 1 hour show. And I used to always be amazed, like, how do they put this thing together? How do they? I mean, it's easy to go, this is going to be 5 minutes, this is going to be 7 minutes from here. But I mean, you're talking Ireland and Croatia, and they're mixing all these locations. And it always amazed me how they put those episodes together. And I know it's possible because I saw it. It just seems like a ton of work to figure out to put that puzzle together every single week, or I should say
Yeah.
10 times a year, I guess.
Yeah, and that's a job of like a line producer of putting those things, that scheduling together. Yeah, can you imagine all the spreadsheets?
Yeah.
All the spreadsheets that, oh my god. I remember back in the day before there was internet, and they would make their own spreadsheets like in a book, and it would
Yeah.
have like strips of paper. Do you know what I'm talking about? And they would weave it in, and they would have to handwrite everything, and of
Oh,
course it would
wow.
be in pencil. Um, Yeah, it was really weird. It was like a line sheet, but in real life, like they made it.
That's very funny.
And yeah, yeah, I remember used to seeing them, then get pulling that line strip out, erasing it, rearranging them. So it was literally like a puzzle in front of their face.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's wow. Anyway, yeah, I was always curious how things are made. I mean, I always say when something is good and you're a viewer, you just fall into the movie or TV show, and then at the same time, I'm like, man, I really love this. And then you start thinking about how do they put this together. I know people that have done the traveling, just like like Game of Thrones, to see where all the different places were, the different castles and stuff throughout the world, and have made it a trip. But anyway, yeah, I was curious. That was, by the way, that was one of those shows, Nicole, that I was like, I have zero desire to watch a show that has dragons in it and stuff that people start saying. And then during the pandemic, I started watching the show and caught up and everything else. And next thing I was hooked like everybody else to that damn show that I said I would never watch. And there I am, there I was.
Interesting. Yes, some
Yeah,
very strategic planning goes into that. And listen, the actors get to travel very well. So not saying it's not hard work, but they make it the easiest they can. And, they're getting paid well and they love what they're doing. And I think they're pretty excited to do it.
exactly right. All right. So a show that you and I watched and that we talk about all the time is Vanderpump. Okay. And so couple things is when the season finale happened, I didn't realize like it was the season finale. Did you realize that was the last one?
Yeah.
Because they didn't do the, they always do the writing thing at the end. The little jokes of, you know, Dave still hasn't found his dog. That kind of thing. They
Oh,
write it then. Yeah, there was none of that stuff like they do in Real Housewives of New Jersey or the other Housewives. And I was like, it feels like it was the last one, but was this the last one? And then the talk that the series might not continue and everything else. But now we hit the reunion. You've had some great guests on the last few weeks, so we haven't had a chance to talk about the show in a while. But now we hit the reunion, and we just saw the episode one of the first reunion. It's a 3-part episode. So, where are you at right now? What do you think? I'm dying to know what Nicole
well,
thinks on this.
I felt like honestly this is one of the best reunions I've ever seen from come out of Bravo because it felt like it was very genuine. It was very my mind, I just had my 5th chemo yesterday, so my brain is a little
Oh,
bit foggy. So excuse me as I struggle for words. I thought it was very productive. Very productive. Um, I felt like I think maybe finally Sandoval's, the light. I'm not sure, but I felt like Lala made a lot of really great points. I feel like I just feel like everybody was on point. Everybody recognized some true stuff that's going on with these people. They gave James the credit. I feel like he's been long overdue. Um, I don't know. I just felt like I really liked it. There was less screaming at each other on it, and there was more like honest talk. And
yeah.
yeah, right. Did you feel that way? I felt like they really kind of addressed the problems correctly.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll talk while you take a sip. So I'm looking at. We've all done that where you're like, I just need a sip of water. Um, all right, so it's funny. You're right on this. That was one of the best reunions ever because they seem like not only did they address the issues that we watched on television, for me at least, I get using New Jersey as an example. I watch New Jersey and I'm like, can't Teresa see? Like, can't you see what everyone else sees? And she's so oblivious to what reality is that it seemed like everyone in the room on Vanderpump Reunion was aware of what was going on. For the first time, everybody was almost on the same page. They're like, this is really what's happening. It's not calculated in your head. This is what's happening. And it felt like almost like they were in our living room with us, having normal conversations that we would have. Everybody saw it the same way.
Yeah, I think
And
so. And I felt
yeah,
like Katie was finally maybe seeing herself honestly, and maybe I'm hoping in there Sandoval was seeing and feeling, he seeing some, that when the majority is saying something, it's typically true. Like,
yes,
you can feel however you want, but and then I was watching a Watch What Happens Live. I forget who it was, and I feel like it was Megan McCain who said to Annie, all of this, but really every single one of them are cheaters. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, yes, they've all been cheaters except for Allie and I Katie. I'm not sure Katie has. We've seen her be a cheater, but the rest of them have all been involved in scandals like this. So the fact that this is happening, because didn't Ariana get into the relationship with Tom when Tom was still with Kristen, right? So
exactly,
it's like
exactly right.
they always say the way you get them is the way you lose them. And I just feel like yes, he got a lot of heat for something that they all tend to do. But he still it was a little bit more dramatic, his scandal. But
So there are two people on this show that I've disliked since I started watching the show, and it changes around. I have a new person who I dislike the most, but when I
dislike?
first started, who I disliked. I
Okay.
mean, I watched, but I rooted against them. Like I was never a James Kennedy fan. James has now over the last couple of years he's come around. I think it's maturity. I think it's a bunch of other things, but I don't hate James. I didn't like Lala. Frustrated me because Lala to me was a lot like Tamara in Orange County, where all right, this is going to be a new year. I'm going to give her another chance. She's playing that she's nice, she's pretty. She has so many things going her way, and then they quickly it turns into she's a bitch again. But Lala's smart. She's jaded a little bit. She's a pretty good chip on her shoulder. But yesterday, I watched the show yesterday, so I said the word yesterday. When I watched the show, I'm going, she's 100% right. When she started calling people out on the set, like, this is my livelihood. And now you're starting to screw with my livelihood.
Yeah.
And I'm bothered by it. I have kids. I feed mouths. You're getting in the way of this and you're threatening my lifestyle. I was happy to see it. I was happy to see her call out people on the show for not basically doing their job on the show.
Yeah, and I think not having a spotlight on her, she was more able to look back with a better perspective of what's going on in general, and I felt like in the finale when she kind of like lost it for a second, and she was like, how did she get cheated on, and then all of a sudden become like this god? That soundbite sounded so bad when we were seeing it in the previews, but when you see her whole like burst on the finale, it all she was hitting every nail, every check mark. She really kind of nailed it. And listen, I feel horrible for Ariana because that was a long time of your good years to give to a man. And but I think that she was really, staying in that house with him was the only way she could really get any kind of revenge on him and have control to ruin him. And I get that part, but I also get that when you sign up for a show, like she wouldn't talk to him in the finale, and they were mad because she wouldn't talk to him in the finale on camera, but yet she lives in a home with him. But I think what
Yep.
people are forgetting is I don't think they talk when they're in that home either. I think they go in and out of separate entrances, and that's why the assistants are always there to say, one is coming down, like I don't think that there's as much contact between them under the roof is that people are imagining in their head. It's a big house. They both are traveling a lot. I think that they're not seeing each other inside the home as much, but you know, and I have to respect her, like not wanting to be around it or talk about it. That's her choice.
Yeah.
That's her
Uh,
choice, and, and, like, what I also agree with her is that why is he trying to apologize on camera? I know that must be really annoying when they're, like, saving it for the camera, and she's like, "We live under the same roof, he coulda left me a note at any point," so, everybody's it's all very different. People have different people all want it. Some people want it to all be on camera. And I get that part. That's a good business sense to have. Put it all on camera to make the show better. And then there's other people who are like, okay, there's the show and then there's real life, and they keep it a little bit separate. And I respect that too, because it's all what makes you happy, your mental health. So, but the finale was like Ariana had her little entourage and they just went to Applebee's. She was like, "Fuck off. I'm going to Applebee's."
yeah.
And it's like, I don't think they're gonna not bring Ariana back. She's
No.
gonna come back.
No.
So I think there were 0 fucks given by Ariana that finale. And now hopefully she'll have some downtime to heal a little bit more and move on now that she's out of the house. So it'll be interesting to see the next season where they come in at, because now they get some time to go live and heal and move.
So let me ask you, how do you think she has played this last year? And before you answer, a couple things. One is a year ago at this time, the world felt horrible for her. A year has passed. She's had a million opportunities. She's made a ton of money dancing with the stars. She's in New York. She's performing. Her career has completely taken off. I mean, as they were saying, she's been national news, on CNN. She's become, a reality show character to just this giant personality that the world has followed her and her angle. It seems like people on the show, not counting her ex-husband, are kind of either jealous, a little sick of it. How long are you going to play this card? It's kind of weird. Like it's a weird scale, I guess. You ride the wave while it's working, but at the same time, is she alienating people of, all right, enough of your shit? Like, where do you think people are with her? Did she play it right? Is she playing it wrong? Where do you think she's at as far as you watching the show, also as a person who's been in the limelight?
Well, I think her team is doing a fantastic job at parlaying this career and keeping that momentum going and just turning it into something else. I think it's amazing. Anybody that doesn't look at it as amazing, I think, as jealous, envious, or all of the above, I think that monetizing off something, but I don't think that that wave will keep going if she's not on Vanderpump, because at the end of the day, Vanderpump is still holding on to that number one spot. I don't know if that will continue or if that will fade away, but while that show is still holding on to the big ratings that it has, then she has, she's got all of this and it can continue. But I think that she has talent. So it kind of separates her from some of the other ones. Like, I know Sheena wanted to be on Dancing with the Stars so bad, and I get it, but Ariana is a great dancer. She's a great dancer. Apparently, she's a great singer. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. And I think that she's likable. She's likable because she's a little bit bitchy, she's a little bit cold, but she's somebody that keeps you, like, interested. So I feel like, she got these opportunities, but she's proving herself. So, like, I would love to see her on Broadway. I think that I would love to be able to see just how talented she is, because that's what's gonna keep it moving, right, and lead to other avenues and all of that. So, I mean, that's kind of on her and her team's shoulders, and I think so far her team is doing a great job, and, I mean, all the power to her,
It
Look at what
is,
the
yeah.
Kardashians did. I mean, you can monetize off this stuff and keep it going and have longevity out of it. You really can.
That's I'm curious to know. Is again, it doesn't always last forever. I think with people, I think it's human nature. We see it all the time, whether it's TV, movies, sports. We build up our superstars, then we somehow we get tired of them, then we love to see them crash, then we want to build them back up again. And it's very strange how it works. I mean, you see it with guys like Tiger Woods, and like, f that guy, f everyone rooted for him since he was a little kid, and now he's an old man. Now we're cheering for him, that kind of thing. But with her, as you said, there are people on the show that when she started out were in the same boat. You could see the jealousy, especially with Sheena. She's like, she's getting every opportunity I dreamed of. Those were my dreams to sing, to dance, to do these things, and all of a sudden she's become the person. Lala even seems a little bit of, God, how long are you going to play this card? But so it's funny to watch to me, because these are people we all know. When you're in your 20s, you don't know what you know in your 40s. Now that these people are getting into the 40s, you can see the maturity start to show. This is how I look at the world. This is how I look at people. Going back to what you originally said about the show on the first reunion, that it seemed it was more mature, people looking at things from a 360 angle. To me, it'll be interesting to see how things play out. The one thing I watched when they showed her ex-husband's new girlfriend, and she kind of she gave the face of, you could see it was one of those where, okay. And there's not, since she ever wants to get back with Tom, because I 100% don't believe that. I don't think anybody believes that, but she didn't want to see he's doing okay either, you know
Right, and the fact that the new girlfriend said she's never watched the show, I mean, how do you go into dating a guy and you don't know?
Bullshit.
Yeah, all of it's a little bit weird, but I don't really care. I mean, if it works out for him, great. If it doesn't, I don't really care. But, like with Sheena, I think Sheena's downfall is, there was a perfect example of it in the reunion, which I wish I could remember exactly what she said. But there was a moment that they were giving Brock, her husband, a moment, because he
Yeah,
has the 2 kids back in Australia that he's not allowed to see, right? And they did like a montage and he's in tears, and she just said something that was just like too much. It was what everybody was thinking. You didn't need to reiterate it. And she said something about, I don't know if it was about that he gets a second chance of being a dad. He's great dad. I don't know, but she said something and it made me cringe. And I was like, that's what Sheena always does. She always
exactly.
is like that much too much, that much too thirsty, crying too much. Like everything is over
You're right.
explaining everything in the wrong way. Like it's just like I don't think there's a lot of deep thinking going on in that head. I just, chill out. She needs to chill out. I don't know.
You're right. She always finds a way to step in it right at the end.
She
You're
does.
absolutely right.
She does. So that was, yeah. But all in all, great reunion. Great, positive So I'll be very interested to see where it goes in the next 2 parts because, the first one was fantastic.
I'm with
Absolutely.
you on that. When they
Yeah,
said it was going to be a 3-part reunion, I was like, not enough happened to have a 3-part reunion. But after I saw the first one, I was like, 100%. There's enough to have 2 more of these. There was
yeah.
a lot of questions that one answered. That was cool. No, I
I know.
enjoyed it. It was good TV.
I really hope in some part of this, Sandoval has, like, a light that clicks on. I really want that for him. I really want him to wake up and, smell the flipping coffee and realize and take accountability, and then everybody will move on, and everybody will stop hating him, but he's yet to do it. So, let's hope that that happens in one of the next episodes. I'm really hoping. Um,
There you go. So
well,
I got to ask you, and the Valley, as far as the show, a spinoff of it, kind of because Jax is on it. Uh, as far as the show, is it one of those for you that it's a can't miss show? Is it one that you think will fade out? What are there any legs to the show?
I don't know. I feel like what I get from it is that these people are too old to be sitting. Jack cannot, everything he says, he's screaming. He's exhausting me. I want to like him. I want to root for him in some way. Um, because I think somewhere down there's a good guy, but he just scream. He can't help himself. Everything he says,
Yeah,
he's screaming. So I don't know if it's steroids or what's going on, but I don't want to put any accusations out there, but he needs to get that wrapped up because that anger that is just oozing out of him is just it's relentless. It never gives up.
yeah.
He's never calm. He's never level-headed. Um, until he just screams and screams to the point where he gets exhausted and then has to storm off. And it's just it's not cute on a guy of his age. A
I'm
lot of
with
this
you.
behavior, a lot of this behavior is not cute for people of their age. I feel like Kristen needs to pull it together. Like just put down the alcohol for a little while. Um, really like get some perspective on what you're doing. I mean, this pushing to have a baby, it's like, does she realize she won't be able to drink for 9 months? I mean,
That guy
I
she's
don't
with
know.
needs to run for the hills. He needs to take
I
off. Like, are you out of your mind? Like,
and what
oh
is
my
she
gosh.
doing? What is she doing? It's not like he can run for the hills and she won't be able to find him. And I don't
Yeah,
think he has anything to help provide. I don't think he's chopping up to be a great provider. So I don't know. All of it is just like it makes me like watch through like my hands. I like cover my eyes and like peek through. It's just like a lot of it is very cringy.
it
So
is. It is. And it seems like Jackson's trying too hard to make sure the show works. Like, almost seems like he's a segment producer while he's on the show. It's very strange. Like,
well,
just trying.
they all have to be
Yeah,
that, right, for themselves,
yeah.
and they do work with a segment producer. They each have their own producer, right, that helps create this. But if he could stop screaming, I would love that. I would appreciate this. The veins are
I think you're
popping
asking
out,
for
the
a lot.
screaming, the face is bright red. I'm like, "Whoa, gonna have a heart attack, guy. You're gonna have a heart attack."
Speaking of
Um,
bright red and faces, are you watching New Jersey?
yes. Oh my god. Yes. So far so good. It's funny what you said about Teresa because, the one guy yells "has been" at her, and never do I like that phrase. I think that is such a stupid phrase, but I felt like it was sort of justified when he said that because I looked at her and I was like, she really doesn't get it. She's just always right, and she's ride or die in all the wrong places. Like, she's always defending the men. Didn't that I think there's rumors out there that man she married, like, blew through
Louis.
all her money. Louis, like, blew through all her money or something. There's something going on there, and yet she's still, like, ride or die for him, and I can't even look at him. I mean, the faces he makes, the pulls, the little model lips, duck lips he does, I am like, "What in the hell does she see in this guy?" He is so slimy to me. She dumped all
Yes.
her family as an adopted his family, is ride or die for his family when this is all gonna blow up. I feel like she married another con man. It's
Yeah,
just,
that's her type.
and
That's her type.
again, at that age, it's it's like, at what point do you parent yourself? At what point do you stop and, like, evaluate yourself? I just I wish her the best. I wish her the best, but this looks like a big train wreck, and I'll be tuned in for it.
You know what? And look, I understand she's the one that makes the show. I mean, she's the most important character
Is
on that
it
show.
still? I don't know. These
Yeah.
other women are starting to
I,
pull their
Bill, I
own.
remember when she went to prison, Andy completely stopped production. He waited till she got out. He stopped it for a year. So Andy thinks she's the one, I guess. But I think she brings the most problems because I hate to say it, she's dumb. I don't want to call anyone dumb, but
She's
she
clueless.
doesn't see the yeah. It's amazing because she has their two older daughters that she has. Both obviously must be bright. One's graduated school and is ready to pursue law school. Another one's going to the University of Michigan, which is not an easy school to get into. There's some smart genes in there somewhere, but that
Yeah.
also doesn't it basically equal the fact of common sense. She chooses the wrong things all the time. As you said, she chooses the wrong men and puts her loyalties with the wrong people. I want to see her fall on her face. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I do not wish her the best. She frustrates the shit out of me.
She's frustrating. And it's just because she battles with everybody. And oh, a line that I loved is when the one lady said to her, um, the blonde said to her, "What do you know about?" Oh, no, it wasn't the blonde. It's the one who was throwing the party for Jen
Yeah,
Fessler, the one who threw it. She said, "What do you know about a gentleman?" And I was like, "Yes, hit that one." And she was, "My husband is a gentleman." And I'm thinking, on what planet? Like, and the problem is I don't think she watches it back and like corrects
yeah,
herself or sees like where she's gone wrong, or there's just more of like just going with it, that she's right her way, the way she thinks is just right. And I just can't stand people like that. I can't. It's hard to watch.
yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm
Fighting
with
over
you.
what? Yeah, just chill out. It's
There you
crazy.
go. So those are the three that I'm caught up on right now. I'm caught up on those three shows right there: Vanderpump, The Valley, and New Jersey. I was glad to see New Jersey come back. Are there any other Housewives shows that you're saying I can't wait to see? Like, are you curious to see what happens with Beverly Hills? All right. Does any of the Kyle Mauricio stuff, any of that stuff, are you looking forward to in any of the next seasons? Orange County. Orange County's getting some
Orange
people back that haven't been out in a while.
Yeah, Orange County, I'd be excited to see. Beverly Hills, I'll always watch it, but it was just it was too like cloudy last year. Just nobody was direct, nobody was clear. They were reaching for things. I don't know. I feel like that they need some clarity with that show to keep that going, because that got
Yeah,
really weird. But of course, I'm always excited when they have new ones out to see what's going on. I guess New York should be coming out soon too, right? I don't
that's
know.
right.
Seems like there
That's
should
right.
be. Yeah. I'm also watching The Amazing Race and Survivor. I love both of those shows so much. And I love the couple, the two guys that are winning on Amazing Race. They're coming in first on everything. They're so cute. They're the cutest couple. But I have a product alert. Do, do,
Okay.
do, do. Okay. This is called Frownies. Okay, and they're facial patches that you put on. I stumbled upon them and did not realize that they were trending until my oldest daughter saw them in my Amazon cart and was like, "Oh my gosh, let me know how those work." Okay, so basically, they come in these sheets, and you separate them, and then they break down into squares
Okay.
and then triangles like this, and you wet them and you hold your forehead and you do like a puzzle. You create like a puzzle on your forehead,
Yeah.
and you do it while you're sleeping. And it's supposed to hold the muscles so that they're relaxed for a number of
Oh,
hours. So you can wear them if you know that you don't have much to do, and you're gonna be in the home. You could wear them during the day, because I think during the day is when we use our eyebrows and stuff more. But it's an alternative to Botox. I will say that once I figured them out and I was using them every night, because you have to like just use the right amount of water to put it on. They sell a
yeah.
spray that that helps activate it. So you might in that. I didn't. I just use water, and they have a funky smell to it. The glue is a little funky, but this has been around for forever, for ages. It's called casting. is what it was originally called. And so it's like it puts a cast, then the patches harden and you don't move your forehead.
Oh,
So I will give them 5 stars because
wow.
you cannot, this is $25. This lasted probably a month and I used it religiously. It works. It really does. So if Botox is not in your budget and you're willing to remember to do these every night, because you really
Yeah.
do need to use them consistently for it to work. Um, they're great. They're really, really great. I would prefer to be able to go get Botox. I'm not gonna lie, but that's not in my budget these days. Um, and I know a lot of people, it's not in a lot of people's budget to go get Botox. So these do work. They do I do feel a difference. It's funny too because when I wear it for a long time and then I take them off, I feel like I can feel that my forehead is relaxed. And sometimes I like reaching for them. Like, do I still have those on? Um, like walk out of the house with them on. You're like, oh, wait a minute. So frownies. I
There you
got
go.
on Amazon, $25. You get 144 patches with it. So if you want something, you want to try something, I really think that they live up to the hype.
Perfect. Good
Yeah,
deal. All right.
yeah,
I think that's something right there.
exactly.
A lot of men and women are going to go, okay, now you're talking. This I'm really concerned. And the deal is everybody's fighting age. I mean, everybody is. I mean, I always tell people, I go, look, these products are better than ever. You can go back and watch the TV shows you and I have spoken about in the past, whether you're watching The Love Boat or you're watching, Mary Tyler Moore, and you're going, those people were in their early 40s and 30s, and they looked like the people now in their 50s.
Yeah.
Especially Mary Tyler Moore, god dang, Ed Asner looked like he was 60 something years old. He was 40 something years old. And the products now seem like they're better than ever as far as what works and what's out there to help you basically fight the battle against age.
Yeah, I think the products, nutrition, I think the walls being torn down of what you should and shouldn't wear at certain ages is also changed, right? So, like,
Yeah.
we're supposed to dress age appropriate, what they called age appropriate in those days, and what does that mean? Can we why are we doing that? Just like my little one when she was younger, we were in like a department store. She goes, "Why is there a girls and a boys and a men's and a women's? Why is it all so separate?" And I was like, I don't know, but at least they're next to each other so you can like, you can browse them both. Nobody's stopping you. Um so I think a lot of the barrier has been taken down about what you can do, right? Didn't there used to be like a saying, no white after Labor Day or something
Yeah, that's right.
bizarre
That's
like
right.
that? So yeah, I just think everything's changed and it's
Yeah.
more open to, being creative. And yeah, it does make a huge difference.
All right. So it's funny. I was talking to a buddy of mine this morning, and he watches Vanderpump also. And one of the things you're starting to see, it's been around for a while. You're seeing women, young girls, not young girls, but girls that say in their 20s, they'll have the tattoos, the small tattoos. Lala has a few of them. You know what I'm saying? Lala has one on her shoulder,
Yeah.
arm. You'll see girls have them on their ribs, but you can't figure out what they are. Like you're curious because you had something tattooed on your body. So you're like, well, what does it say? And so he's telling me he was he was at the beach and he's looking at this girl's tattoo on her ribs and it was written in script and he's looking at it and finally the girl just says, hey, what the fuck you looking at? She snapped at him and he said to me, have you ever had that where you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on? I go, yeah, but I go, I'm so afraid to look because I'm afraid of what happened to him happening to me. Like it going, stop staring at me. And I'm like, I just wonder what the fuck your tattoo says. I can't figure out your arm. I can't figure out your ribs. I can't figure out what's on your shoulder, but you put 3 of them on your body. So what the hell's on there? So you're used to someone that obviously people stare at. What would you do if you're a girl and you're in that situation? Let's say you have Lala's situation. Would you snap at someone for staring at them and you're just an average person at the beach, or would you say I understand what they're doing?
Well, she probably doesn't understand what he's doing because
Yeah,
he's staring at her and it's so close to her. She's in a bikini. I mean, you know, yeah, you shouldn't stare. Like people just shouldn't
yeah.
stare. It's just not a thing. Don't stare at people. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I think that these girls get these it's more about the placement more than rather what it says, and it's all that tiny fine script.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, and it's cute. Um, but yeah, you just don't stare at people. It's just this common is a
All
common
right.
rule. Let's not stare because people stare at me too, and I'm just like, especially now with the bald head, they're staring at me because I'm bald, and just don't stare. Just
Here's a
rule of
tough one
thumb.
for guys too. Okay, so like right now, it's funny that you happen to be wearing a shirt with writing on your chest. So a girl can be walking down the street, or I could be in the mall, whatever, and a girl has something written on her chest. If it's more than one word, now I gotta figure out what the shirt says. Now, for in the camera angle, we can only see one word. I know there's more than one word that you're wearing right now.
Yeah, to
Okay,
fill yourself up.
love it. So here, so here's the deal. If it's like 5 words and I'm looking, that now I'm caught looking, and then I feel like they think I'm staring at their chest, but in reality, I'm trying to read their shirt, and then it's like it's not even worth trying to read anymore because I don't want to get yelled at. I'd be so embarrassed getting yelled at of, hey, my eyes are up here, or what the fuck are you doing? You don't want to be that guy.
Well, I guess her tattoo was probably small, so he was struggling to read it. But David, you
Yes,
can't read 5 words on a shirt in
like that.
like in a good amount of time.
I got a
You've got
problem.
something else. You've got other problems.
That's true. Maybe I was just staring. That's true. You're
But
right.
it's
You're
funny too
absolutely
because, like, to put it into perspective, I wore a shirt that said something on it, and I remember a guy read it really quickly and added to it. But it took me a minute because I forgot what I was wearing, and I was
yeah.
like, "What the hell is he talking about?" And then I was like, "Oh, it has to in reference to my shirt." Um, I saw a guy the other day and I wanted to say something and I was like, don't say anything. But it said like I survived the wooden spoon era or something. And it had like the big wooden spoon on it. And I
Yeah.
laughed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my daughter asked me, well, what? I don't get it. And I said, yeah, consider yourself lucky that you don't get it.
Yeah.
And when I told her, she just looked at me like, what
Yeah.
happened? They did what? So it was funny. But sometimes you forget what you're wearing. So if somebody makes a remark or staring at you, you're like, what are they staring at? But 5 words on a shirt, you should have that in 30
I should.
seconds.
I should. I should. I
Yeah.
absolutely should. All right, let's get to your mailbag again. Nicole's mailbag. It's easy. All you have to do is go to perfectlytwistedpod.com and look at Nicole's mailbag. It's at the top of the screen. You can get your questions in. We'll get them on the show. I have 5 of them here, all from Amy G. Okay. First question is, Nicole, you have such a positive attitude. Were you born that way, or is it something you have to work at?
Definitely something I had to work at, still work at. It's something you have to make that decision every morning. You just have to say, I feel so much better when I'm thinking positively. It starts with your inner dialogue. You just have to start. I wake up to daily quotes that I get on my phone. Then when I'm awake, I have a book I read out of. It's quick, just takes a couple minutes. It has like a lesson, a thought for the day. And I start my day that way. And I realize when you're thinking positively, you feel better, things go smoother. Um, and if you live in each moment instead of worrying about the future or worrying about the past, you really can tackle anything because you're like you're walking through the storm, you're ready, you're more open. If you're distracted with worries of the future or the past, you can't think as clearly in the moment. So
Yeah.
if you can stay with that clarity, that upbeat, that you know you can handle whatever is given to you day by day, no matter what it is, you're just more equipped to deal with it. And so therefore you don't procrastinate as much, you don't stress as much. You roll up your sleeves and you just deal with it. It is what it is, and you're going to get through it. This will pass. You read that a lot. So being positive is something that when you practice it, it feels good. It just makes you feel good, and you don't want to listen. There are days where I allow myself to just be grumpy and all of that, but always remembering that tomorrow is going to be different and that, you'll get back to it. So you have to, balance that between giving yourself the moments to be sad, to be scared, to be frustrated, all of that. But then you have to say, okay, Like I've read
Yep.
things where you get like 5 minutes of grief a day or something, and then you move on. It can be longer than 5 minutes, but you have to consciously wake up and say you're going to make the most of the day and focus and take your time with things that feel good. When they say stop and smell the roses, if you do that, um, it's like I tell myself I love smells, so I buy my favorite flowers every week, and I have them because they make me happy. Every time I
Yep.
walk by them, I can smell them and I can see them, and they're gorgeous, and they make my whole room smell, and I just love it. So, like, I buy body sprays that make me so happy. I buy candles that the smells make me happy. So whatever it is that like brings you that little bit of joy, just surround yourself with it. And don't forget, like music. Music is a big one. Just having music playing all the time, it changes your mood. It changes your mindset. Whatever it is for you, those are what work for me. But I'm just a big believer in that. And when my brain and my thoughts start going to a negative place, I literally say, stop. That is not right now. That is not what you are looking at.
Yep.
Nobody has told you this. Like with my diagnosis, let's take that as an example.
Yeah.
If I start to downward spiral, I say, stop. I am here right now. I feel okay. Nobody has told me that anything is going wrong. So you have to just live in the now, live in the moment, what you're looking at. And if what you're looking at is troublesome, just say, okay, how can I handle this? How can I tackle this? And I just think that just makes things a lot easier. That little bit
Yeah.
of work, that shift in your inner dialogue, it changes everything. So I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the way I try and go about it too. It's the people are negative all the time or about to have a bad day or this isn't going to work out. It just, for me, I had to separate myself. I can't do it. I can't have those kind of weights of the negative people. I always
Yeah.
believe things are going to work out, you know?
I know
Uh,
there's a lot of negative people, and and that I'm noticing that too with people around me, and I'm like, if you think I want to hear that you're crying over something so mundane, like you don't know me very well, because I'm not getting back to you on this one.
so
Uh,
next question from Amy. It says, Nicole, do you like Chinese food? If so, what is your favorite?
I'm not a huge Chinese food person. I find it a little bland. As far as like Thai and Japanese and Vietnamese and oh god, Indian, all I love all the others, because they make a lot of healthy options and their flavors are just crazy and they're things I can't create at home. I love food getting when I eat out. I want something that I can't make at home or I'm not going to make at
Yeah.
home. I justify it that way. But Chinese seems to be a little bit greasy and a little bit bland for me. But I do like fried rice. I love fried rice. I do like a good spring roll. We have a modern Chinese place called Chin Chin. That's a chain restaurant. A friend of mine's dad is the owner. It's been around forever since I was a kid. I love that. I love their Chinese chicken salad. Amazing. So Chinese not on the top of my list, not my first go-to, but it's all right.
There you go. Says Nicole, do you ever go back and watch old episodes of The Real Housewives? They were so different in the beginning.
Sometimes I do. It's like comfort food or comfort uh like ambiance. And I, I don't necessarily do it a lot, but yes, if I will turn an old episode on of a Bravo show any day before I watch the news one more time. You know what I mean? One more round of the news that I already heard. So yeah, I do. And yes, it's funny to see. It was really interesting because there was somebody on, I think it was Watch What Happens Live. I mean, I literally just watched this shit last night and I cannot remember. But there
It's all
was
right.
Andy showed a flashback of him, and I think it was Teresa, or it was no, the one that's married to Joe. What is her name? The really hot one.
Melissa?
Melissa. Maybe it was him. But anyways, there was a flashback he showed. And I thought, what was interesting is that they look better now,
Oh, yeah.
which was
Oh, yeah.
so weird because they were so much younger. And
Yeah.
he said something like we were babies. And I thought, well, you guys weren't quite babies. But I do think that they look so much better, and,
They
I
do.
mean, that's what a little money will do for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's the old joke. After season one, you
Oh
start
my
having your
god.
first surgeries. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how it goes. No, you're
it
right.
it's everything is better it's better makeup and glam team, it's better
Yeah.
products, it's, going to all the spa treatments and doing all the things, having the right wardrobe, all of it. Yes, you can tell when somebody's come into some money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Says Nicole, will either one of you start watching Southern Charm? Is it the only Bravo show you don't watch?
Oh, no. Oh, I've watched every single
I do
episode.
too. Me
Oh,
too. I'm
love
a
that
Southern
show.
Charm fan.
And
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
love
That's
I love the setting, I love that city, I haven't been there, but I would love to go there. Charleston
I
seems
like the yeah. I like the
amazing.
clothes that they wear. When they show the people's
Very
closets and I'm not a big clothes guy, but I'm like, dude, I like the setup. It's expensive as shit to dress that way if you're a guy, but at the same time, I'm like, look at these guys' closets. Look how many blazers they have.
yeah. Well, I think that their, etiquette in Charleston is a little bit more,
It is.
right? It's different, and,
It
like,
is.
you dress up more and they have their own style for sure. It's old, old money, and it shows. I love that old money history. I love all
Yeah.
that vibe. So, yes, love that show.
I
Love,
do
love,
too.
love that show. Very
I do too.
excited to see
I
it
don't
come
know,
back.
Amy, why you thought we didn't watch. Maybe because we won't talk about it enough,
We
but
don't
I
talk
do.
about it.
It's one of my favorites. It's one of
Yes,
my
no,
favorites.
love it.
All right, here's one for you. It says, Nicole, are you a Lakers fan? Curious to know your thoughts on LeBron James. Dave, I'm curious to know your thoughts too. Are you a Lakers fan?
Of course, I support the Lakers. I've been to many a Laker games. I've been
Yep.
lucky enough to sit on the court plenty of times. My ex-boyfriend, his father and his godfather, Jack Nicholson, uh, are have owned the floor for
Oh, of course.
since the beginning. So I've been lucky enough to go and experience it like that. But as far as like the knowledge that Dave has, this is not comparable, people. I support the Lakers. They're my home team. They're fun
Yes.
to watch. We've had some great championships, but that's about as far as it goes for me. Dave, what do you think? I think, and
Yeah.
oh, my impression of LeBron is I feel like
Yes.
he's a really great guy. And correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like he gives back a lot. He is what we need to see with role models and men in general, especially in the Black community. I know that they must adore him. But men in general, I think we need more of LeBron's. But I'll hand it over to you, Dave.
Let me tell you something. You answered that question outstanding. Honestly, for someone who doesn't know some of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, you hit it right on the head. Here's the deal. I am a huge Laker fan. I'm a huge Dodger fan, obviously. I know Nicole, she supports the local team. She's a Dodger fan too.
Yep.
First Laker game I ever went to, by the way, Nicole, so I was born in Los Angeles, moved to Nashville, Tennessee for 9 years, moved back to LA. First Laker game I ever went to, believe it or not, I sat on the floor. And it was somewhat
Oh,
a friend of mine's dad was in the movie industry. And I had Rob Lowe, who was super famous in 1986 and still is famous, but every girl wanted to be with Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe was to my right, and I had Jim Belushi like 2 rows down, and it's kind
yeah.
of like I'm looking around going, I know these people, it was kind of nuts. And then Jack was across, and it was really cool. I'm again diehard Laker fan. LeBron James going to him. I'm a giant fan, and we talked about guys who step in it, as we were saying at the beginning of the show, and Real Housewives and Jacks and all that stuff. LeBron James has never stepped in it. I mean, it's really hard for a pro athlete not to get caught doing something, whether it's drugs, whether it's cheating, whether it's money, anything. LeBron's been with the same girl he's been with since high school. Never once has been caught in a cheating scandal. Has 3 kids. As you said, he gives back a ton. So he's from the small town in Ohio called Akron. LeBron James will pay for every kid that goes to public school in Akron, Ohio for their college education. Every kid. You graduate high school, he's going to pay for you to go to college.
Oh,
It is pretty amazing. And he's built up these schools and communities and everything else. He's a billionaire. Everyone looks at him. You might be jealous of his success, but I don't know him personally. I've spoken to him a few times. Just a couple months ago, I saw him, but LeBron and I aren't friends, but I've had the opportunity of meeting him. He has been an outstanding person. And it really frustrates me when you get people that will say to shut up and dribble, because that was said about him. Basically, his opinion doesn't matter. If you pay taxes, my opinion, you pay taxes in this country, you should have a right to say whatever the hell you want. And
yeah.
LeBron James pays a shitload of taxes. And you know what? he has the right to say whatever he wants. To tell any human being to disregard that you aren't a human being and to shut up and dribble is ridiculous. And so he's one of the people that makes the world a better place. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his. And so I thought you answered that question great too.
I don't think everybody should be able to say anything they want. I'm going to cut you off on that one. Some people need to bring it in, but when the rhetoric is positive and yeah, you just, and the thing about telling somebody shut up and dribble, it's like it's delusions of grandeur, because it's what you think your opinion is higher than somebody else. I don't like talk like that. It's horrible. Like somebody commented on one of my posts on Instagram saying, stop with all this nonsense. Like if my journey is nonsense, why are you following me? Why are you here? To tell me to be quiet about it or call it nonsense. Think that they have the right to say all of these things, but really some thoughts should be kept to yourself, folks. Just let's always remember that you should filter yourself. You really should.
Yeah. LeBron's deal was, it was famous because it was on, cable news. And let's be honest, it was about race. At the time, it was about race. And that's what it
Okay.
was. It was a chance because of LeBron's skin color, and he has a ton of money, and he needs to shut up because he's living a good life. What he has to say is not important.
Ew. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
boo to that guy.
And so actually, it was a girl who said it. It wasn't a guy who said it. It was a girl who said it.
Boo to her.
So, Amy G, go ahead.
It's like when people say things like that, it really reflects who they are as a person, right? They don't want to hear that because what they don't want to admit that this is the history. I don't know exactly what it was he said, but it's like, do they not want to embrace and listen and learn and be a better person? That's what that tells me about that lady. Like, you're just stuck in a hole, go rot in it.
Amy G, appreciate the questions again. If you want to ask a question to Nicole, we'll do our best to get them on the show. Perfectlytwistedpod.com. Just go to the mailbag and submit them. So we thank you very much for the 5 questions.
Thank you, Amy. And boys and girls, don't forget to fill yourself up. Please do it. Please do it. Hit that like button and have a fabulous week. And we will see you next time.